Hi, I'm Dave Fries. I'd like to take up an issue today that is constantly asked in our course of our practice. Should I give my house to my children or grandchildren? And there are a number of reasons why this is important to consider very, very carefully before you do it. And there are a number of reasons why in many cases the answer is no, don't. It sounds very simple. I just want to give this to my children or grandchildren. It's a deed. And it's very inexpensive to do, and it's very inexpensive to record. But there are a lot of other issues that are raised by this. First, it raises issues under the Medicaid look back. You have to make sure that you have sufficient assets to provide for your care in the event you went into a nursing home for a 5-year period. The Medicaid laws recently changed, and the look back is much longer than it was before. So you need to consult an elder law counsel. And Doug Kahn in our office is available to talk to you about that if you're facing nursing home care, the possibility of nursing home care within a 5-year period. Of course, you can carefully integrate your long-term care insurance and other planning techniques to make this possible, but in general, you have to be careful about transferring a house. Another thing is that an outright transfer of a house also raises issues such as federal estate tax issues, Pennsylvania inheritance tax issues, capital gains tax issues in the event that you die and your children inherit this at a lower basis. And there are a number of issues that you have to consider. Also, you need to consider whether the transfer should be outright to a child or grandchild or into a trust. And there are better and worse ways to do this. Let's take a couple of those issues and just talk about them briefly. First, if you transfer a house to a child or a grandchild, it's no longer your house. If you transfer that outright and they get married and divorced, or they're in a car accident, or they get sued, possibly through no fault of their own, your asset could be at risk, and that's a potential problem. Another thing that people don't realize is that when they transfer a house and continue to live there, the house often continues to be taxable for both Pennsylvania and federal estate tax purposes. So if your purpose for doing this is tax planning, you should be careful because it might not be working. Another thing is, if you transfer a house and then pass away within 1 year of that transfer, it's going to come in and be includable and taxable in your estate, whether you live there or not. If you transfer a house and you don't reside there, and your children have to sell that house to use those funds for your care, there may be an income tax liability, capital gains tax, that wouldn't have otherwise occurred if you'd kept that house in your own name. Now again, there are better and worse ways to do this, and there are trusts such as a qualified personal residence trust or a Medicaid planning trust where you can make transfers of a home sensibly and in a tax advantageous way to other children and grandchildren. If it sounds unduly complicated, it is, unfortunately. What sounds simple on the face of it, do a deed and give this to my children, is actually pretty complicated because it involves Medicaid law, real estate law, income tax law, federal estate tax law, and Pennsylvania inheritance tax law. I wish it were simpler, but that's the truth, and you've got to really consider these things before you do them and pick the best possible way to carry out your goals. Thanks.